World War II strikes America. Pulled into war, the US must use its industrial might to create a war machine that can fight on two fronts. By doing so, it sets itself on the road to becoming a superpower. America prepares for war. The Great Depression of the 1930s is over. The coming of war has pushed American industry into overdrive. In 1941, it joins the Allies in the struggle against the Axis powers Germany, Italy, and Japan. Now, every weapon, ration and medical supply is mass-produced on a scale never seen before in human history.
Sometimes it takes a terrific challenge and a horrific threat to the Republic to discover how good you can be.
America's entry into war begins with treachery. December 7th, 1941. 320 kilometers north of Hawaii, the most advanced Japanese fighters of their day head towards the American fleet at Pearl Harbor.
The Japanese Zero was a better fighter than anything the Americans had produced at that time.
The Japanese Zero can fly more than 3,200 kilometers without refueling, making it perfect for a surprise attack.
When Pearl Harbor was attacked, it was one of the most stunning moments in American history.
183 Japanese bombers and fighters are heading straight for Hawaii. Another 170 follow right behind. Japan has built an empire across Korea, Manchuria, and Hong Kong. It wants the whole Pacific Ocean. But the US fleet in Pearl Harbor stands in its way. 50 kilometers north of Pearl Harbor is Opana Mobile Radar Station. First contact is made by radio operator Joe Lockhart.
What's this?
Two blips show something out to sea. In 1941, radar technology is still experimental. America doesn't yet realize how important it will become.
If I could reach out and touch you from greater distances, I had a tactical, strategic advantage.
Radar will evolve into a system essential to the modern world. Tracking close to 10 million flights around America and nearly 5 billion passengers around the world every year.
Definitely incoming.
So far, America has kept out of the Second World War.
We had almost our whole fleet in one little harbor, one little area. We were sitting ducks. But then again, we trusted in the Japanese. At the same time, we were having peace talks with them. They even gave us a peace medal.
Operator?
Private Joseph McDonald of the 580th Aircraft Warning Division.
Yeah, this is Opana. It looks like there are a large number of planes coming in from the north, 3 points east.
I think everyone's gone off shift. Hold on.
It's early Sunday morning. Japan is nearly 6,500 kilometers from Hawaii. No American expects Pearl Harbor to be attacked. The surprise attack, the speciality of American riflemen during the War of Independence, is now being used against US troops.
We still got planes coming in.
Looks like an awful big flight.
Okay.
Lieutenant Kermit Tyler knows there is a flight of American B-17s due in today. He assumes that's what's on the screen.
Well, look, don't worry about it.
What do you think it is, sir?
Nothing.
Radar has been used by the British since 1935, but the US military doesn't yet take it seriously. Only 5 CR-270 mobile radar systems cover the whole of Hawaii, and they're manned only 3 hours a day.
Miles.
Radar also has a weakness. It can't see through Hawaii's mountains. The low-flying Japanese squadron vanishes from the screen. With their shift over, there's nothing more the men can do. MacDonald types up his report.
Hey, Bob, take a look at this, will you?
America will pay a high price for neglecting radar.
When did this come in?
At 7:50 a.m., the Japanese attack Pearl Harbor.
Most of the Marines and sailors were still in Iraq. They were still asleep. We had no idea that this was going to happen. But we all know that it did.
The Japanese have prepared this attack for a year. They have rehearsed bombing a model of Pearl Harbor in Japan until they reach an 80% hit rate. All 8 US battleships are put out of action. 1,178 Americans are wounded. 2,403 are killed. Private MacDonald's report finally gets read, but by then, it's too late.
A day that will live in infamy. We were completely unprepared for that emotionally, and it turned the country on a dime overnight. Anti-war people were down, signing up to join the Navy, the Army, the Marines, whatever was required.
27 hours after the attack, America declares war on Japan. 3 days later, the US is at war with Germany.
It unleashed the wrath of America, and I think it gave us an energy that carried us through the rest of the war.
Once provoked, that massive tiger of engineering was awakened. We had factories that were sitting underutilized in Detroit and around the country because of the Great Depression. We were ready to go on a building spree.
War transforms America as the nation is set to work. Before the war, there were 3 million unemployed. Now the country's huge potential is released.
There was no country that had a deeper economic base and an enormous pool of not just labor, but of scientists and engineers and technologists.
One of their innovations is the Jeep, or GP, the General Purpose Vehicle. It's made for war, tough, fast, and low to the ground. It's 94 centimeters high. It has a flat hood and a folding windscreen. And its low profile makes it difficult to line up in an enemy's sights. It's small, but can carry up to 7 men. Even the front bumper is a seat. An M1 carbine gun goes just below the windscreen. There's a shovel and an axe to dig yourself out of trouble, and jerry cans of fuel to get you home. If the Jeep flips over, you just lift it out. It only weighs 1,050 kilos, light enough to be put in gliders and dropped behind enemy lines.
What the Jeep symbolized in World War II was not cutting-edge technology, although it was a four-wheel drive vehicle, so it was very capable. But what the Jeep really showed was the power of American manufacturing.
Designed by Bantam and produced by Willis Overland and Ford, by the end of the war, the US makes 3 Jeeps every 4 minutes.
Over the course of the war, we deployed over 600,000 Jeeps. To fly around this open vehicle at top speed was just something every American boy wanted to grow up to do. To this day, I mean, part of the boom in SUVs that we saw was that notion that you want a vehicle that can go anywhere, that can do anything. It's a very American spirit, and it really started with the Jeep.
Jeeps, tanks, and every other weapon of war will be produced in record numbers. But this huge industrial machine is being driven by a new kind of worker. World War II. America sets to work. In this war, mass production will be America's greatest weapon. 88,000 tanks, 7,333 ships, 20 million rifles and small arms, and 40 billion bullets produced in 4 years. 43 million men are registered for combat service. But America needs more manpower.
It was actually the women back in this nation that were the ones working in the factories, that were putting the tanks together, building the ships, building the airplanes, you know, so they are actually the ones that logistically won the war for us.
Women, like Peggy Blakey, a migrant farm worker. Now she works in a munitions factory, joining 2 million other women. The Depression is suddenly over. Her factory used to make fireworks. Now it's pumping out 20mm tracer shells. Tracer shells leave a trail of burning chemicals containing magnesium. They're to self-correct targeting. The pressure's on to make them quickly, but it's high risk. Just combing your hair could kill you. Static electricity and gunpowder equal explosion. But the risk is worth it. Peggy makes real money, $32 a week.
To us, it was just an absolute miracle. Before that, we made nothing. Now we'd have money to buy shoes and a dress and pay rent and get some food on the table.
And she pays taxes. US tax returns jumped from less than 4 million in 1939 to over 42 million in